welcome everybody to this episode of Walking Between Shadows. We're your host. I'm Ben.
I'm Taryn.
And this week is going to be unique in that we've been gone for a little bit and we've had several things going on, but we're going to give everybody a rundown of the casework that we've done and some of the more popular stuff that we've done and take a look at any updates that are on there.
Yes.
So Taryn, do you have anything you want to add before we really get started?
I want to thank everybody for subscribing and liking and sharing our videos. We're up to over 10,000 subscribers now. So that was the goal a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And we asked you all to step up and help us get there, and you did exactly that. That tells us that you love our content just as much as we love putting it out there to you. So, like Taryn said, thank you very much. There's just no other words that we can say.
Yeah.
All right. So our update this week, we're going to start with a list of cases here. And Taryn, I'm going to pitch them out at you. And then you just talk to me back about what you know and what you've learned. And I'll do the same thing. So it'll be a little bit of a give and take.
Yes.
All right. First case we want to talk about is Brandy Geisler. So remind us where that was.
So Brandy Geisler was in Middle Tennessee, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady was a mother of 5. And was tossed out on fire on the side of the road. And since then, and this was in 2022 when this happened,
mm-hmm.
There has been no updates on this. I'm blown away by this. I do ask y'all to go back and check out that video. I believe it was called Tossed in the Fire, and it was about Brandy Geisler. So I have spoke to some of her friends and family members, and at this time, there are no updates.
It's another one of those cases where it seems like law enforcement's just not that interested.
Just not that interested. Brandy had a rough life and was in an abusive relationship with her partner. Yeah. And it just seemed to have fallen. She seemed to have fallen through the cracks.
Well, Taryn, there were a lot of things that we, read and studied about this case early on that it really led us to believe this thing could go so deep with drug ties and, trafficking and everything.
Yes.
Who was this that she was associated with? They burn her on the side of the road.
And in fact, after we put that video up, her partner decided to comment and email us.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was interesting.
Have you heard from anybody else since?
Her son, who has let me know that he does not live with his father. He is with his grandmother. And since then, that's it. I believe I may have heard from, that's it, I believe, on her. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, that was Brandy Geisler. Go back and take a look at that case. Mm-hmm. And again, we'll tell everybody, if you know something, if you think you know something, please reach out to authorities or heck, email us. You'll see our email at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
So the next case kind of strikes close to home. Richard Albright.
Yes. That was my cousin that went missing in Ohio around Columbus. That was in February of last year,
mm-hmm.
of 2023. He was found in a creek close by to where he was living at the time. And it seemed like it would be foul play. That's what everybody was thinking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They did an autopsy on him and found out that it was kratom overdose.
Yeah, and at the time, you and I had not even heard of that.
Well, I've heard of it, but not much. It was something I've just heard of very little.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with kratom, it's supposed to be used as like a over-the-counter comfort medicine for people that are coming off of opiates.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly gives like a boost of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they sell it like at vitamin stores and health stores.
Vape shops, yeah.
And vape shop and even gas stations. So, yeah. It's pretty dangerous.
All right, so as long as I've been a part of the marijuana and cannabis industry, I've never dealt with anything that had to do with kratom.
No.
And it's a plant extract, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe it is a plant extract, and if you're going to use this stuff, y'all, please be careful. Yeah. I mean, this is just like with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
It's dangerous. And he was trying to come out of a dark time in his life and get clean.
Mm-hmm.
And he was falling back on this kratom to get him through those hard times, and it did the reverse.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So, again, keep your eye out for kratom. Be very careful with that stuff.
yeah.
You never know what you're getting in some of those stores.
You never know what you're getting in a lot of stores.
Mm-mm.
You know, these places where you get gummies and, you know, they're supposed to be THC or it's kind of like THC, and it just doesn't, it's not the same.
Yep.
Not the same.
So the next case in the list is Evelyn Boswell.
Yes. This case was out of East Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother, this was a 15-month-old little girl that was asphyxiated, found in a trash can with aluminum foil stuffed down her throat and around her head, upside down. It distorted her whole entire face, this little baby. Her mother had put her there. And we've watched this go on for years. I believe this happened in 2020 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, we're just waiting for a trial. He did go back. Megan Boswell did go to a hearing for a change of venue in March. I believe it was the 24th of March of this past year. So the 24th of 2024. And they're going to set up another hearing for that venue change in June. So we'll know a little bit more about that and when the court date will be, trial date.
Yeah, and we put an episode out on Evelyn's case last year.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, go back and reference that case.
That might have been in 2022 as well.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been the end of 2022. So you may have to dig a little deeper in the files there on Walking Between Shadows. So the next case, and I hate to say this, it sounds bad to me to say, but it was a very interesting case for me to learn about with you.
Yeah.
And just how damn evil somebody could be.
Yeah.
Krista Pike.
Krista Pike was like the most popular video we got. She is the only woman on death row in Tennessee, and she is convicted of murdering a girl that was at Job Corps with her. Yeah, so she's on death row, and appeal after appeal after appeal, and she'll probably sit on death row until she just dies of natural causes.
Yeah, and you know, from our inaugural case, getting to know that brother, but I struggle to say it, but Debbie and Ambria. So Debbie Harris's brother.
Yeah, Tommy.
Yeah, he was actually in this school at the time Krista Pike was there.
Yes.
And he knew, oh my God, he knew how they all interacted, what they all did. You know, I kind of think he was gone on, because this all occurred during a Christmas break at the school.
It did.
And Tommy had left and gone back home to West Tennessee, but this all happened because of these kids staying there over the holiday.
That's right.
Yeah. So it again, we got a different perspective on that case from somebody who was actually there. That was very interesting. Again, go back and check out Krista Pike, Tennessee's only and probably cruelest woman on death row.
Yeah, you say that, but, you know, I've seen a lot worse. I mean, we covered the Christian and Newsom case out of Murfreesboro, where the two were killed up there and just tortured. And, you know, they weren't sentenced to death row. I don't even know if all of them were sentenced to life.
Yeah, but that wasn't a single woman either. True. There was a woman involved in that, but it was her and two other guys, right?
It was
three other guys.
Five people that were involved in the Christian and Newsom case.
Yeah. It
was a very bad case.
Whereas Krista Pike walked around with a piece of her victim's skull in her pocket.
Yes, she did. And you know, as a matter of fact, Colleen Slimmer, that was Krista Pike's victim. Her mother, still is waiting for that piece of that skull that's in evidence. And they will not give her that until Krista Pike is killed.
Yeah.
So she has not even really buried her child, doesn't have all the pieces of her.
All right. And she said she vowed to wait. But from the looks of it in Tennessee, just keep giving her continuance after continuance and stay after stay. It sounds like she may not live to see the day she gets the rest of her daughter home.
No. No,
Go
it's
back
just
and check
sad.
that out. Yeah, you guys got to go back and check that out.
It's like, here, we promise you we're going to take care of this.
Mm-hmm.
And which doesn't matter how long you have to wait.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's crude.
It makes you wonder why they have victim advocates in these prosecutors' offices
Exactly.
doing shit.
No,
All right. After Krista Pike, Karen Swift.
Karen Swift.
Now, this was Dyersburg, right?
This was Dyersburg.
Okay, go for it.
And I want to say this was 2011 when this took place. And I might be completely wrong. I might have been a little bit later, but not much. Karen Swift, her husband, David Swift, he was arrested in 2022. So that would have been well over a decade, about a decade after this happened, on first-degree murder and
conspiracy, right?
Conspiracy. And the trial has been pushed. There's a change of venue. So they moved it from Dyersburg, Tennessee to Weakley County.
So this is the update for that case.
This is the update.
Yeah.
So we will absolutely go over this way more in May because the trial date begins on the 28th of May.
Okay. In Weakley County.
In Weakley County. And that was Karen Swift, mother of 4 children and Dyersburg, Tennessee resident.
Yeah. So they moved it 2 counties away.
Yes.
All right. So after Karen Swift, West Memphis 3. Now, this is a decades after decades long case. But
Huge
there's
case.
been a break in it lately.
And I'm glad.
Now, remember, these guys took an Alfred plea in this case to get out of jail.
Yeah, they did.
You've got an update from me.
I got an update. So the DNA, there was like a hair that was found at the scene. There was more DNA that was collected as well at the scene of these boys that were murdered. And we know that the three West Memphis 3 boys that were arrested, and they got out on was it an Alfred plea? Okay, they got out on an Alfred plea. And so they're still carrying around this guilt of, that they did this, right? With an Alfred plea.
Yeah, that's right.
They just got let out and they can't go back and sue. But now, here we are, 2024, and they are going back and testing all the evidence again for DNA, which is a huge deal.
Now, is this hair something that's always been in their custody and they've just kind of figured out how it fits into the puzzle? Or is this a result of technological updates? What do you think has caused this to happen?
If you can remember, they did find this hair that was attached to one of the boys' shoelaces when they were hogtied. And it matched back to, it narrowed down out of all the suspects down to Stevie Branch's stepfather.
Yeah.
So I guess with further analysis, now we're in 2024, they can test a lot more. I mean, there's a lot better testing now. So we'll see what happens with that. I hope they come up with something on that one.
All right. West Memphis 3. Gosh, that's a, 30, 40-year case now?
Yes, it is. That was like in the 90s, wasn't it? It was the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next on the list is Casey McDaniel.
Casey McDaniel. Casey McDaniel went missing in, was it 96? From Milan, Tennessee, from her home in Milan, Tennessee. Pete Hill was sentenced for that, or he pled out to an Alfred plea as well, right?
That's right.
Last year, or August of 2022. So it was like the anniversary of her going up missing.
Yeah.
So he pled out to this, and during this, plea, the agreement was that he was to lead to Casey McDaniel's body.
Yeah, allegedly.
Right. And here Casey was 14 years old. Still, here we are over a year later after this plea, and nothing.
Right. So I do think that it's important for us to say that the prosecutor who alluded to that possibility through his language should do his damnedest to find that body.
Well, this is such a huge case in the area we grew up in that, there's rumors like crazy.
Sure.
And it would absolutely calm those rumors for Casey's family,
Yeah.
and they deserve that.
Yeah, and Alfred, please, not closure. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Mm-mm.
And they deserve that.
Yeah.
All right. After Casey McDaniel, the next case is one of our favorites to love or hate, either way, but none other than Springfield, Missouri's own Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You know, I was all for her.
Yep.
I was all for her. She got out of prison for the murder of her mother. You know, she was was Stockholm syndrome. It's not Stockholm. What was it?
Gypsy Rose?
Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Munchausen syndrome. So she was the victim of that and got with her new boyfriend who was severely autistic, and they murdered her mother. Well, she gets out the 28th of December.
This past year?
This past December. And
only served 10 years.
Only served 10 years. Gets out, and like I said, we had high hopes for Gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
She was married when she got out. She got married in prison. Well, since then, she's left Ryan Scott Anderson, and now she is with the boyfriend she was seeing before him in jail. Another one of her pen pal boyfriends.
Yeah.
Ken, I don't know what his last name is. But yeah, she's back with him. She's got a Lifetime series coming on this summer. Had a nose job and has vowed that she is not a murderer. She didn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of us thinking that she was going to get out and help all these other victims that have gone through similar things that Gypsy went through, she just went out and made a complete ass of herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
She even gave her little dog away. So her husband got her a little, like a Shih Tzu or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, she just like, oops. She's just like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want it. He can keep it. The dog likes him better than me anyway. Well, what kind of person are you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, she had all these plans to hang out with Taylor Swift, and
yeah, that didn't work out.
Yeah, who was the one after Taylor Swift? It was
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, yeah. Oh,
Taylor Swift's favorite person.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if one bitch wasn't good enough, another was.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really bugs me about it is she has an opportunity to help people in a big way.
Sure.
And really bring in a lot of money to fund those types of projects. And that's never been on her radar, I don't think.
She don't give a shit about that.
No.
That got to do with her. She thinks she's a fashionista. I mean, like, she is all about it. Like, I'm on these TikToks. And she even took down all of her social media for a while and lost. And from my understanding, he lost like 1 million or over 1 million followers, which is money. I mean, that's money.
Yeah.
And somebody stole her account information or something. So she can't even get, well. Oh, well. And these people that get underneath her and call her mother. And yes, queen, and slay queen. She did, her mother.
Yeah.
She did slay her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's not going to admit that.
No.
She's not going to do what. And until these people that just think she's amazing stop their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll keep going.
Now, you can go back and look at episodes that we've done, but it's out there. It's everywhere.
Oh, wait, Gypsy's everywhere.
Everywhere.
She's got it in everybody's face.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's the curious case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Yuck. Anyway, so keeping it in Missouri, we're going to come on north a little bit and talk about the Kansas City Three.
Oh, yeah, the three guys.
Yeah, that died mysteriously after a football playoff game.
All right. Yeah.
At their friend's house.
Yeah, well, we did find out. Go back and check out these videos on the Kansas City Three. We did find out that they were over at their chemist friend's house, having a good time. I don't know who ordered the cocaine, but someone did. And not only was it cocaine, it was fentanyl as well. And so they were found, 3 days later, frozen to death in the backyard. So, yeah.
And that friend hastily left that house. I think he moved out the next week.
Do you blame him?
Not at all. But he lawyered up real quick, too.
He lawyered up real quick. And I know in the state of Missouri, same as in Tennessee, if you get caught, if you're in the act of committing a felony, which would be, doing drugs with somebody or sharing drugs or selling drugs to someone, and he kills that person, then you're going to be charged with second-degree murder. I know in Missouri, and in Tennessee, because there's a lot of cases going on there in Tennessee right now that there's issues.
So has there been anything announced about this case in Kansas City that there's any kind of court hearing or anything?
As of right now, I do not know that. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think so. I think it's still, the lawyer is still holding out until, and just like, we talked about, the friend that lived, he might have not been the one that supplied it. It could have been one of the ones that passed away.
Well, no, it wasn't only that, but remember they talked of a fourth guy or fifth guy that had been there?
That's right.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting when they do finally come out with some sort of statement about it or something.
And that was in January of 2024.
Yeah.
Yes, when we had that cold snap here
in
Kansas City. So.
Yeah, and it had snowed that night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, again, going back to Tennessee.
Jennifer
and Adriana Wicks.
Now, this case. Okay, I've been watching Casey Robinson, which is Jennifer's sister and Adriana's aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And we covered this case about a month ago, not quite. It was on the 20th anniversary of the disappearance of Jennifer and Adriana. So go back and watch that so you can get, up to date on that. But so there was a search warrant that was executed on Joey Benton's property, who was Jennifer's boyfriend, and where Jennifer and Adriana were living at the time when they went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was executed for Joey Benton's father. He had lived on that property the same time that Jennifer and Adriana did as well.
Mm-hmm.
This was not for Jennifer and Adriana. Unfortunately, this search warrant was not. We thought maybe before and hoped maybe before it was, but it wasn't. It was for, so Joey Benton's father got charged with some domestic violence charges and explosive charges. So when they go on this property, Jennifer and Adriana's family's so excited. They didn't know what was going on. They're out there with cameras and they're waiting to see what's going on. And come to find out, they start seeing these SWAT trucks going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They end up going to a landfill and letting these explosives detonate, and let them out.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with that. But there was a picture that was found during this time that they were searching this property. And it was of a minor that Joey Benton's father was sexually abusing. So there was a picture, and it was a 20-year-old picture.
Mm-hmm.
We do not know who that picture was of, what minor that was, but that was the exact same time that Adriana was there and going into a hospital to be checked out for a UTI and a vaginal infection as a 2-year-old little girl. So it makes you wonder what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick folks.
Yeah.
All right. Keeping it in Tennessee, we're going to move back west to Saltillo.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The Brashers.
Yeah. And this was a set of grandparents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we covered this about a month ago, over Christmas, these two grandparents had custody of their grandson, Carson Brasher, 3 years old. And the grandmother was charged with first-degree murder. Am I right on that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the grandfather was charged with second? Or was it neglect?
His charges were second and neglect.
Failure to protect the child.
Right.
And he's the one that had custody.
Right.
So come to find out, it was not, we didn't know if maybe they had starved him or, just neglect. Mm-hmm. But it was physical abuse.
Yeah, he was being beaten.
Over Christmas, 3 years old, by his grandparents.
Yep.
Heartbreaking.
Wound up dying as a result. Any update in what's going on with that case? Have you seen anything about it?
It's so recent. They had the hearing back about a month ago when we covered this. So they did the arrest. They arrested them just a month ago.
They did the grand jury and the arrest. Yeah.
Right. So at this time, we're just going to wait and see what court dates are set up for that. Okay. That was in Saltillo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, on the list for today, we're going to go out to the Oklahoma-Texas border, and we're going to talk about God's misfits for a second.
Yeah, that was the last case we covered. Mm-hmm. And if you can remember, that was Grandma Tiffany Adams. Mm-hmm. Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly were the missing moms. Veronica, the main mother of the kids they were going to visit. Grandma and a pack of her God's misfits murdered them.
Kidnapped and killed.
And killed. And my understanding, I was watching Nancy Grace, and she usually gets it right on point.
After she screams at you for a minute.
She yells at you for a minute. Mm-hmm. But it looks like these two women were beat and put into a 10-foot hole and buried alive. Mm-hmm. Concrete, dirt on top of them, and hay. Mm-hmm. There was a fifth arrest that was just previously, just like in the past week, maybe, they made a fifth arrest, and that was Paul Grice that that we had talked about last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Too. So, yeah.
And it turns out Paul's been involved with, allegedly involved with prior plans to go and snuff the mom out.
Yeah.
He's actually been on trips with Grandma.
Really?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see when this goes to court because, they're pretty well all caught. They've got everything.
They've admitted to
it. Yeah.
They've admitted to it because they believe that's their beliefs.
Yeah.
They believe that this mother that Veronica allowed her children to be abused, and that they were just taking care of it the way that they believed. Eye for an eye. Yeah. You're not going to hurt these kids anymore. And I have a high doubts that anybody ever messed with those kids.
Right.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just don't prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Well, again, God's Misfits was the most recent case that we covered in any kind of detail. But that's it for the list for today. And I just want to encourage everybody to hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to smash that notifications bell so you see new content as we deliver it. Thank you again for helping us hit that 10,000 mark. Mm-hmm. And the next stop at the train station will be 100,000.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, don't forget to like and share, hit that notifications bell, share with anybody and everybody, and leave comments. If there's something you guys would like to see us do, leave a comment and let us know. Ultimately, it's our decision of what we cover, but we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in for today's episode. And again, we're your host. I'm Ben.
I'm Taryn.
And we'll see you on the next Walking Between Shadows.
Bye.